Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So, thank you, Cinderman. Kubrat Pulev not happy, by all accounts, that he won't be fighting Dillian Whyte for the IBF mandatory elimination. And, of course, Epic Sports, they won the purse bid for $1.5 million. So it's almost double what Eddie Hearn and Team Sauerland. Obviously, Team Sauerland are actually Kubrat Pulev's promoters, right? But either way, it's Epic Sports and Entertainment. They're a American-based company, and they were willing to put the fight on in Bulgaria, which is, of course, Pulev's home country. And after a lot of kerfuffle, Dillian Whyte said, well, he was contemplating going to fight Luis Ortiz, obviously for more money in that as well. And then last minute, got changed to Joseph Parker. So Kubrat Pulev not very happy, and this is what Kubrat Pulev had to say. After Epic Sports won the purse bid for my IBF elimination bout against Dillian Whyte with a bid of $1.5 million, double what Whyte's own promoter Eddie Hearn bid. I was expecting Whyte and his promoter to run away from the fight, but I didn't expect them to be such jerks about it. They are extreme manipulators and plain schizophrenics. I can't believe what I'm hearing and what a tricky way they chose to run away from a fight in Bulgaria. The whole time Hearn kept talking in circles about negotiations, how they're still trying to bring me to the UK. All this while a date and place was already announced for the fight on August the 25th in Sofia. A formal IBF contract was sent to Whyte, but they didn't sign it. This is not some club show where what we're talking about, but a major fight with global interest between two legitimate top 10 heavyweights that will decide the future of the heavyweight division. The bottom line is they lost the bid, but instead of playing by the rules, Eddie Hearn and his fighter decided to pick up their marbles and go home with their tail between their legs. Hearn and Whyte did everything they could to avoid fighting me. First, they tried desperately to change the purse bid split. The IBF denied their request. Then they repeatedly delayed the purse bid by saying that we were close to making a deal, but that was never true. The negotiations were a joke, and I told my team to take it into a purse bid. Then, even after they lost the purse bid, they made us 7-figure offers to try bring the fight back to England. But we said, no way, you lost. So what is more there to talk about? Hearn then tried to say that Epic did not have the money to pay the 20% deposit, but then we proved them wrong again, and they were staring at a contract to fight in Bulgaria. That's when they panicked, and Hearn talked his guy into pulling out instead of facing me. They are nothing but a bunch of yellow cowards. So that was Kubrat Pulev's statement. He did say other things about Eddie Hearn. Actually, let's just read the rest of what he said here. It's what he said to Eddie Hearn, Dillian Whyte. You could have taken the fight, but you are the one who pulled out, not me. But hey, if Hearn is misleading you somehow, let me tell you personally, I'm here and ready to beat your delusional ass back to reality. So, Kubrat Pulev not happy, right? Here's the thing. There's quite a few things, obviously, he didn't mention into this, okay? The first one, and it's the most key one out of all of them, okay, Dillian Whyte is ranked higher above all other sanctioning bodies than Kubrat Pulev. Not by a lot, but still. But within the IBF, Kubrat Pulev is ranked, one place, 2 places above him, and it's for the mandatory. Now, when you're the champion, when you're the IBF champion, so for example, Anthony Joshua is right now, if he was to take on Kubrat Pulev like he was supposed to originally, which we'll touch on in a second, Anthony Joshua will get 75%, Kubrat Pulev 25% champion versus challenger. But for whatever reason, Kubrat Pulev was getting 75% as if he was the champion when he's not the mandatory. Okay, it was an even fight where the winner becomes mandatory. So why he was getting 75% and Dillian only 25% was ridiculous. Not only that, Dillian Whyte had to go to Bulgaria. And let's be honest, you know, he says that it's a global event where the global world will be watching it. No, they wouldn't. And this was one of the issues. They wouldn't be. Because even though it's a very good fight, it's a very tough fight, if Dillian had won, who would have given him credit? Very few people would have. Because very few people know how good Kubrat Pulev is. People know Pulev as the guy who got knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko. That's what they know about him. And he struggled against Derek Chisora. That's what they know about him. They don't know too much else. Whereas me, I've seen Pulev multiple times, and he's dangerous. He's very, very good. You know, he's got that double jab followed by a big right. It's like most people seem to think he's just a jab fest. He's not at all. He's very powerful. He's very, very good. And it is a very difficult fight. But it's not that difficult where Dillian Whyte's going to go, no, I don't want you. Pulev is not a scary fighter. You know, he's not somebody where people don't want to get in there and fight with him. Pulev is the one who has history of this. Okay? In the negotiations with Anthony Joshua, oh, well, I don't know when it is. My team aren't telling me. I don't know anything about Cardiff. This is like the first I've heard about it. Even though me, you, fans and everybody knew for months what the date was going to be, and it was going to be Kubrat Pulev if it wasn't going to be Vladimir Klitschko. So how is it he doesn't know? He always claims ignorance. And then guess what? They had to put in a backup plan for Kailash Takam in case Kubrat Pulev pulled out of the fight with Anthony Joshua because they didn't trust him. And guess what? He pulled out of the fight. Personally, I don't believe that he was injured. That's just my thing. Obviously, I have no proof of that. Maybe he genuinely was. Coincidence, maybe. But then when it come round to him fighting Dillian Whyte, what happened? Oh, I don't know anything about it. I don't know when it is. No, my team aren't talking to me, blah, blah, blah. Again, making excuses. And then when this Epic Sports and Entertainment put in a bid, so basically Pulev had two teams bidding for him. He had his own promoters in Team Sauerland, plus Epic Sports and Entertainment. Both with the intention of going to Bulgaria. I don't know how hot boxing is in Bulgaria. I'm presuming that Pulev is very popular. There are a lot of Bulgarians here in the UK. So when he was supposed to have fought Joshua, it was a big event because it was Joshua. But there would have been a lot of Bulgarians going there to support Pulev, no doubt about it. But how big is the fight in Sofia? I don't know. Maybe it's only going to be big in Bulgaria. But the rest of the world, not at all. Because nobody really wanted to see that fight, Pulev. And that's the absolute truth of it. Nobody did. I'm a massive Dillian Whyte fight. And I know it's a tough fight against Pulev. But I didn't particularly want to see it. I have to be honest. Given the choice, Pulev or Ortiz, I was pushing, hey, Ortiz, let's do that. That's what I was hoping for. And Joseph Parker, what, former world champion? Pulev, have you ever been world champion? No, you haven't. So Dillian Whyte has chosen a younger opponent. A guy with a record that is very, very good. A guy who comes to fight, not to run away and hide behind a jab. As I said, Pulev is not just a jab specialist. He does have a very good jab, but he has that double jab followed by a right. It's like he can't throw the right without throwing the left first. But he's powerful and he's very, very effective at it. But Joseph Parker was former world champion. So, I mean, I don't understand. It's Pulev is the one who didn't want the fight. It's Pulev who's the one that was making negotiations difficult. It was Pulev it was the one who went to purse bid. Why? Because he was only going to fight Dillian Whyte if he could get it in Bulgaria. That's the only way. And even then, there's no guarantees that he weren't going to pull out. And that's the truth of it. He has history of this. He has form for this. When Vladimir Klitschko beat him, it's almost like Klitschko took part of his soul, you know, and he hasn't been the same since. He's been a very cautious fighter ever since. And he didn't want to fight Dillian Whyte. Of course he didn't. So, you know, for him to say that Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte were running scared, on what planet would they be running scared, right? He's getting 25%, so that's what, 300 grand, dollars, by the way, which is, you know, to you and me, it's decent money, right? But he could get triple, quadruple fighting Parker. And exactly the same against Luis Ortiz as well. He'd have got paid a lot more against Luis Ortiz. So why would he do that for 25%? That's ridiculous. For two fighters who are going for mandatory, that should be a 50-50 split, surely, at a bare minimum. Maybe a couple of percent here and there if because Pulev is ranked higher. And he was formerly mandatory, but guess what? He pulled himself out with only 2 weeks left to go for the fight. So why should he get 75%? He shouldn't get 75% when he had two teams bidding for him. Again, that don't seem right. But anyway, You know what? He could have had the fight with Dillian Whyte. Yeah, Eddie Hearn was trying to bring the fight to the UK. Why? Because you get more eyes on you. And guess what? You probably get paid more money in the UK as well. I'm not saying that this fight would have been pay-per-view. But again, you see, that's the other thing. Who would pay pay-per-view for Dillian Whyte versus Kubrat Pulev? I wouldn't imagine too many people at all. Would many people pay for Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz? Hell yeah. Would people pay pay-per-view for Dillian Whyte versus Joseph Parker? Hell yeah. Pulev? No. So again, you know, you're not marketable. It's a dangerous fight, no doubt, for zero recognition or very little recognition and virtually no money. And for an IBF mandatory when, guess what, he doesn't need to go IBF mandatory because he has the same promoter as the IBF champion. This fight is guaranteed at some point. So no, he didn't need Pulev, and Pulev needs to stop being a baby about it. In fact, if anything, he's probably like, yes, excellent, I don't have to fight him now, but actually I'm going to pretend that I really wanted to fight to try and restore some of my reputation. Well, I'm sorry man, your reputation is already destroyed with the fact that you pulled out. And well, not necessarily because he pulled out of Joshua, but because he kept making excuses and moaning about promoting. Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, everybody else in the world knew what was going on. How could you not when it actually involves you? How can I know more than what you do? That doesn't make any logical sense. It doesn't. I mean, do you put yourself in like a log cabin and hide away from internet and news stories? I don't know what you do. How can you not know this? But anyway. Either way, Pulev, you're going to have to go fight somebody else. I don't know, maybe Jarrell Miller. I mean, it was originally meant to be Dominic Brazil. You didn't hear him complaining about Dominic Brazil, did you? No. But who's next on the IBF? I'm not too sure. Maybe a Jarrell Miller, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I think it might be Charles Martin. I don't know. Either way. Drop your thoughts below to Kubrat Pulev's statement. And, you know, I do like Pulev, but he's just acting a complete wimp. But anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.